And I was jamming with
Alrighty.
that.
It's nice.
I've went and picked my guitar up. I'm like, ooh, key.
So y'all, that's the new intro. I'm still working on how to get it to work right. But hopefully that went well. And if you guys enjoyed it, please let me know. Today I have with me Clearwater Chad and In Theta, or Marcus, as we commonly and friendly know him. And we're just doing sort of an open thing today. We're not really, we don't have a theme, which is unusual. You know, I normally have a theme. And so opening up for questions, we're going to do a general discussion. Back here behind scenes, I don't know if anybody watched Denver Stevo with his Xenu Nation. I guess it was, when was that? Wednesday? Chad?
I think
remember?
so.
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday. And talking about the things going on in his life. So I'm really pretty concerned about what he said. It's very concerning.
What did he say?
And well, he talked about how he was invincible, and that he had kind of a few bad years back in before
COVID.
the pandy.
Yeah.
Before the panda. And
we're not supposed to say that? Is that why? Okay, is that why you were? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
I know
Sorry.
it is.
I know.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I've been
Can't say
fighting
the C
YouTube
word.
like
You can't
crazy.
say,
I've had
yeah.
63 claims in 24 hours, but you know.
Oh, good Lord.
No, it's fine. I like they get resolved. I have all of the
Yeah.
paperwork, so
Yeah.
F them. All right, sorry I said that. I didn't mean to say that.
That's
on
okay.
YouTube.
I'm not monetized yet, so not a big deal.
Gotcha.
But anyway, before the panda, he lost his job and was going in to have to an interview. He'd gone to an interview, and he said he had the worst indigestion he'd ever had. And he ended up going to the ER over it, and it says you've had an event. And he's like, well, that's awesome. What do we do about this? And well, we're going to have to admit you. He's no, we're not, because I have an interview on Monday. This was on a Friday. And he says, that's not happening. I have an interview on Monday. And they argued, and he signed the against medical advice thing.
Wow.
And walked out the door.
Wow.
And then he went in on Monday, and they said, you've had an event. You've had a heart attack. And okay, what do we need to do?
A heart attack?
Yeah. And what do you need to do? And they said, well, we need to do some surgery. They were putting some stents in, and he didn't like that doctor. He went to a different doctor, and the different doctor he likes quite a bit. But long story short, he had stents put in, and then he still was having some issues, had a wound issue. He had some other things that over a period of time, to where they finally found out that, one, he was diagnosed with diabetes in his 30s, which my daughter had the same thing, only he was diagnosed type 2. My daughter was diagnosed type 1. And he had kidney failure, and is now on dialysis 3 times a week. So, and because of that, I am very concerned. I know the statistics on dialysis. They aren't
What
good.
are the statistics on dialysis? Because, like, I have had family members who've had issues like this and had to get dialysis. So, what are the conditions under which you have to do this? Like, you're talking about heart attack, but
it was 2
there are
different
multiple
things. He had
conditions.
more going on. He had more going on.
Right.
He was in kidney failure. He was in renal
failure. Okay.
Yeah. And what dialysis does is it pulls the blood, your blood out, it cleans it, and puts it back.
Sure. Right.
Okay.
I am familiar with the dialysis part, but yeah. So.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it does. And
but he had a cardiac event and renal failure.
Yes.
Stevo?
And yes, Denver Stevo.
Denver Stevo had renal failure and cardiac event.
What?
The cardiac event precipitated the renal failure?
Diabetes did.
Diabetes. Diabetes.
Undiagnosed diabetes. And so if you watch his Wednesday Xenu Nation around the 50 minute mark, he goes into all of this.
Okay, from this past Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay.
So he goes into
Well,
that.
damn.
That we're even talking about this is because
Well, we want him to live.
well, yeah, but I
Absolutely.
mean, but there have been people who have known about this for over a year. I'm not naming names, but I have
Right.
I've been told by by at least one of them that
From
she's
the
known
rumor
this
mill?
for. No, he
Okay.
told her that they've known this for a year, and they've been in the
The
background
doctors?
worrying. No. Well, no, she's just been worried about it.
Okay.
In the background on her own, worrying by herself and not being able to tell anybody.
Okay.
And now that it's out, she has come to me. And
I see.
we have discussed this because she knows that I deal with diabetes, I deal with low carb. That's my other side of this. Now, you haven't seen it on my channel yet. There will
Yeah.
be a section I will start doing, and I will get busy on it here now that I know that there's a
I'd-
true hard reason.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I need to do that. Chad probably needs to do that.
Yeah.
Steve
We
needs
were
to
saying
do
before
that.
the show. Yeah, we do. I do.
Yeah.
I was asking.
So-
That's why I asked the question about healthy alternatives to butter.
Yeah.
Well, so I just
I
want,
do
just
not do
like
it.
in the preview or before we went live, I said, like pot kettle black, just as a like
Right.
not to not say, oh, it's an intervention. No, it's nothing like
Right.
that. It's just
No, it's not.
information to help and to see that, because I've made changes over the past year because of my cholesterol. My doctor got on my case about it. And hello, Steve. And
Hello, Steve.
I changed a few things, and it didn't affect my mood, because when you get cravings for food, it affects your mood, and you feel, you're like, I really want that, but then you think, well, I can't have that, and it'll affect your mood in a really bad way. So, like, if you can replace those foods with other healthier foods, then and then your mood is not affected by it, then by all means, why would you not do that to continue your immune? As we
Right.
get older, we need to think about our health more than you do when you're my 19-year-old nephew who can drink half a bottle of Glenlivet or something and wake up and be like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
Those days are long gone.
yeah, when you get older, it gets harder.
Yep.
It's not an easy thing. And a lot of times when you're talking about things like changing things for health reasons, like for cholesterol or, diabetes or those type of things, you're not talking about a change in diet. What you're talking about is a change in lifestyle.
Yes.
So,
that
it's
includes
not
exercise, like diet, exercise, and sleep.
As Free Xenu Project, your recipe is fine. He sent me, I'd have to go pull my emails up. He'll tell you exactly. I believe it was like a Guinness and bean soup, or the Guinness soup is our stew, base stew. So really interesting looking recipe. And
I've cooked with Guinness before.
Oh yeah, great stuff. So I make a great bread with it. I mean, literally, it's self-rising flour, a little bit of salt, and a Guinness beer, and
you use
the
that
yeast.
much?
Yeah.
Just you don't use the whole thing.
Yeah. No, about
right?
a half.
Yeah.
About a cup and a half.
Yeah.
But anyway, the yeast in the beer works with the self-rising flour, the sugar in the self-rising flour.
Oh
and
yeah,
it does
you
its
get
thing.
all kind of chemistry going on. I mean, beer is a living organism.
Yes, it is.
Well, it was until
And prune juice. That was the other thing was in it. Was prune juice. That was it. It was a very interesting looking recipe.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it. I did manage to, as I read through it, I know Frizino. I know that you had a correction in it that you sent me later. When I read through it initially, I'm like, oh, because it's even parts of this, and there's no measurement on this, so I'm betting it's even of that as well. So, and then you sent me the correction, and sure enough, that's what it was. So, anyway, but anyway, back to Steve-O. One of the things that he has access to every single recipe I have, except for the ones that I have done specifically for SPTV. They're in a different folder, but he has access to every single one of my low carb recipes. The key here is Denver Steve-O does not strike me as the person who is going to go in and make a gourmet meal, spend a lot of time. Like Marcus will spend a lot of time, depending on what it is.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll spend 2-3 hours making a meal, or preparing, or even a day ahead of time, 2 days ahead of time. But
Right.
I also, because that's not something I want to do all the time. It is something I like to do, but it's not like passion for me, like music. I have friends who become culinary artists that's their passion. They will do that.
Right.
Like you hang out with them, that's what they're doing, and they're making all kind of amazing stuff. But that's
right.
I'm just sort of a intermediate whatever. I do my cooking that I learned from my grandparents and my parents and people from Texas.
Yep. Interestingly enough, speaking of taking 3 or 4 days, I am in the process of gathering my stuff to do a full-on demi-glace, which is a 4-day process. So
yeah.
So y'all will get to see that over the space
making
of 4
sushi
days.
is like that too. Like I mean, I made some Cajun sushi one time, and made 3 platters for Christmas one year for my family, and that took 2 weeks of like preparation and making sure everything, getting all the ingredients, and then coming up with a recipe for because these are all a bunch of Cajuns and Creoles. Like they're not into sushi.
Nope.
So I had to like come up with ideas. And so what I did is I took I made a simple mustard potato, basically mashed potatoes with some spicy mustard and some cream, like creamed it up a little bit. And I garnished it with peeled crawfish tails that had already been boiled. So I had peeled all of the crawfish tails, and they had that really, really hard spice that's called, they just call it crab boil or crawfish boil. And then I wrapped that in a soy wrap because I figured not everyone wants seaweed, but getting that potato, it was very soft potato, very creamy. And I had to put that into the rice roller and then roll that somehow without squishing all of it out.
Oh,
and
my
then,
Lord.
And then cut them, with a very sharp knife, and then garnish it with those were all gone within 20 minutes.
No, I imagine. Joe's asking you a question there, Marcus.
What's that? Are you up for a chat about Oh, absolutely. We can talk about Creole music, Cajun music. I know a lot of people here that are these people, so some of them are my family. I'd love to talk about that. Also, I reached out a while back to talk about Colin Aluret, a friend of mine who does classical compositions and just released his first full suite. It's a Baroque suite for the classical guitar and darbuka, and we could talk about that. And yeah, absolutely, we need to do that. I've just been busy. I've been broadcasting like crazy, and I have a ton of archive stuff that I'm rebroadcasting that hadn't been broadcast before. I'm dealing with all these claims and stuff, and I have to get letters now because, like, I have licenses to stream the stuff that I'm streaming on my radio show, but CD Baby keeps auto flagging, and it's those they're called automatic content ID claims, because they're done automatically, not by people, and they're set up by the distributors of music people who are publishing music.
Yeah,
pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with Steve and Steve's buddy on the. Let's see, I'll show this again. Hang on. I work with a guy who says maritime word for sushi is
That's
bait.
what they say down here.
Yeah.
Man, why you put bait on my plate? Man, I'm not gonna munch that meat. That's bait. I throw that in. I'll go catch me a catfish with that. That ain't food.
Nice.
I love it. And Free Xenu says anything Cajun is great, which I agree with. It's awesome. But
That's a whole
anyways,
subject. Yeah, Joe, we could really deep dive into Cajun and Creole because the Acadians, there's a story there, a really interesting story about the Acadians.
yes, we got a little taste of it last week. It was very interesting. I
Well,
want
you
to-
can't hardly get me
no.
to shut up about it.
I know. I want to get. I want to just do something one of these days with me and you, just on an off day of the week, not the Friday talk, and just talk about that because I mean, I grew up in San Antonio, but I spent probably 10 years in the Beaumont area in the
Oh man,
Hampshire
yeah.
Finette.
Man, that's
Hampshire
basic.
Finette.
We claim that part of the
Yeah,
state,
exactly.
and y'all claim us over there. Like Beaumont,
Mhm.
they got their boudin, and it's too much pepper, and that's okay. But they got boudin; they can have that.
Mhm. Yep.
And then we got our
Um,
Tex-Mex over here, and it,
yeah. You got Taco Bell.
we got a lot of
Actually,
restaurants
yeah.
that pop up that's Tex-Mex. It's
Yeah.
similar to the Tex-Mex in like Houston and Southeast Texas.
Yeah, we
Hey,
you
Terry.
actually had in what Lafayette, you had a Whataburger, which was the only store outside of Texas for the longest time
Yeah, you'd have to
until they
go
got
across
bought by the
state line to get a
Chicago group.
Whataburger, and I know people who
Yeah,
would. They'd be like, "I'm craving a
yeah,
Whataburger."
yeah. Lafayette
Speaking
had
of bad
one.
food, I mean, not that Whataburger is the worst, but like if there was a Whataburger, uh, you were talking. I'm not trying to derail you. We were talking about Steve,
Very good. Yeah, I know.
but and health issues, right?
Hmm.
And I guess age is a part of it, but like I had a funny conversation with a guy I hadn't spoken to in 20 years, and I told him how long it'd been. He said, "Oh no, mate, I'm not that old. It's only been 5 years." Um, like, yeah, I mean, we may look great, right? But like our bodies are aging, and it's not like it used to be. Things have changed. Your body changes over time, so adjustments need to be made, and you can still be happy with what you eaten.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So Peace and Love thinks raw salmon's yummier than cooked. So in some ways, I can agree. I like mine sort of medium rare, but I'm not too eating raw yet. My dogs love raw though.
Is he talking about
So
steak?
Joe, no, salmon.
Okay, yeah, I can't do the
I
like
can't do raw
medium
fish.
rares. I can't even do medium well salmon. It has to be cooked.
Yeah, it has to be overcooked. It gets that really fishy dry. Okay. Anyway, Joe has said, simply good. We are just having dessert after dinner, and it's quinces we picked locally, which I have cooked up. Really good.
Pizzas?
Quinces. Is it
Hmm.
quinces?
Let's
Do
find
you
out.
get quinces in the? I do believe we do have quinces in these states. I just don't know how to deal with them. I've never tried, so it's not something that is.
Oh, it's a fruit.
Yeah, it's a fruit. It's not something that is in the grocery store a lot, and I don't know that there's probably areas where there's the trees that they are bushes or whatever they come from, but it ain't here.
So it's pronounced quince.
Quins, yeah.
Yeah, and then picture of a quince or quins. Images. These are quinces.
Yeah. So they're almost citrus-esque.
Highly fragrant pear-like fruit that must be cooked
Yeah.
before eating.
Mhm.
Wow.
So Free Xenu Project wants to know what a Whataburger is. It's like what a burger, but it's all one word. So we call it Whataburger. It is a very large. I mean, they're pretty good size. They're about this big. McDonald's are like this. Whataburgers are actually like this. It is done on a grill. Is fried, and they're kind of thin. They're not very thick. They're pretty thin, but it's quarter pounder. So they take this really thin meat, make it of a quarter pound, and squish it down so that it's going to be good size. That is, they put mustard on everything. If you don't want mustard, you have to tell them no mustard or light mustard or whatever, because they'll slather mustard all over it. It's a great hamburger. Throw cheese on it. It's a Texas tradition that was recently bought out by some firm in Chicago, and now it's moving everywhere.
Really?
We got him in Birmingham.
Yeah,
Oh, I bet you there's some excited people.
yeah.
Because it's a better burger than a McDonald's burger, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And
is.
Sonic, all dependent on the staff, right, and the cooks. But like,
Mhm.
if you find a good Whataburger or a good Sonic, like I think those are good burgers. But they're not healthy. Like I wouldn't be. There was a time in my life where my brother and I were living in a van, and all we ate was McDonald's 99-cent menu, and that would kill me today.
Gotta love Steve's sense of humor. He's throwing in
Yeah.
his piece about Whataburger.
Well, I mean, honestly, my stepdad's from Texas, and that's how he pronounced it, Waterburger.
Whatever. Yeah.
Go down
Well, I mean,
Waterburger, get you a burger, Waterburger.
yeah. I mean, if you listen to the way I'm saying it, it sounds like Whataburger. So yeah. So I
Hey,
want
Brian.
to remember.
Brian's
I
mic's
believe-
not working.
Yeah, Brian, your mic's muted.
That's because I had it turned down.
There you go.
Ah.
So, Matt, you're Sophia. I hope I'm getting this right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember your name.
Yeah,
I'm horrible with first name.
Yeah,
Sophia.
Sophia.
Sophia. Sophia has found an amazing regional coffee today at our weekly market.
Cool.
What is that regional coffee that you found? Keep us in suspense. So everybody saying hi to Terry. Hello, Terry. Hello, Terry.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey. I've never heard of Medlars, but this is what they look like.
Medlars.
Joe was talking about Medlars.
And there he went.
I'm trying to get his hit. I'm trying to get hit. Oh, God dang it! I'm trying to
And
get his stage up. There it is.
Okay,
I'm trying to get it moved over. Sorry, Marcus.
Oh, that's fine. It's all good.
Hello.
So it's available in winter, cultivated since Roman times. And what is bledded? Eaten when bledded. Bledding is a process of softening that certain fleshy fruits undergo beyond ripening. There are some fruits that are either sweeter after some bledding, such as sea buckthorn, or for which most varieties can be eaten raw only after bledding, such as medlars, persimmons, keens, service tree fruit, and wild service something or other.
Sounds like a fermentation process of some type.
This is comical. They have vulgar nicknames. The Mespilus germanica is also known as the monkey's bottom or the open arse.
Oh my!
The more you know. Thanks, Joe.
Learn something new every day.
Saying a burger
That's
is better
true.
than McDonald's is pretty easy to claim to make. A pretty easy claim to make. I've had boiled burgers better than McDonald's burgers.
Fair
I would agree
enough.
with that.
Fair enough.
I
I mean,
agree with
I
that.
only eat McDonald's in emergencies. Like I'm driving and like
Nothing else.
nothing else. And I always regret it. It always hurts my stomach. I always feel like, I always feel terrible afterwards. So I'm trying to be clean, for.
I hear you.
I
Hey,
want to be
Chica,
respectful.
I'm in Birmingham.
Okay.
When we lived in Tennessee, the one thing I missed, one of the things I missed, I won't say the one, but one of the things I missed the most was my Whataburger. And so it was really cool when I would go out in the truck with Pete, my husband, and we'd travel around, and he would try to get us through Texas at least once so that I could have a Whataburger. Yeah.
That's one of the few
So-
things I miss from living in Texas.
Well, they're all over
Really?
now. Now that Chicago's outfit bottom.
There's only one I know of in Arkansas, and that's in Russellville, and it was like it's been there since like the 70s. Because I
Yeah.
remember
Oh my
we'd go,
God.
yeah, we go up there during when I was a teenager and I was part of the FFA, and we go do judging up there. I did land judging, and that was the highlight of going there. We get to go to Whataburger, which is
Nice.
right across the street from it's Arkansas State University campus.
Yeah. So Joe is asking me other stuff we picked last weekend were apples. I've heard of those, and medlars, which I hadn't heard of until Marcus informed me.
Mhm.
Have you ever heard of medlars? Used to be very popular in Britain until the 1800s. Have to be bledded before eating and cooked. So no, I had not heard of them, and I have learned something new. Thank you, Joe. You know, the things that y'all have in Britain and those types of things. There are things that you guys have that I've never heard of, and it's really interesting to learn of those things. So
Well, that's one of the advantages of traveling. You know,
Mhm.
I always tried to make sure when I was in the Navy that I at least sampled some of the local cuisine, especially in
Mhm.
Naples. When I was in Naples, I went wild with the first time I'd ever ate actual. It looked like a really small squid. I asked them for calamari, and this is what they what they came out with. It was pretty good. Of course, I was pretty drunk too, so
it doesn't
Yeah.
take much to be good when you're drunk, right?
yeah, me and my Liberty buddy, it was one guy was supposed to be sober. Of course, both of us were drunk. We got some cigars and we sat out on this patio, and they let us smoke cigars and drink wine and eat our meal. It was great.
How funny!
Mhm.
How funny! Apparently, Peace and Love says they got Arby's horsey sauce from Walmart.
Oh, yum.
So they don't have any Arby's there. So, you know, I'm not a big fan of the horsey sauce. I like their
I like their
barbecue sauce.
Arby's sauce is
their
good
Arby's
too.
sauce
Arby's
is good.
sauce, yeah.
My best friend's daughter, well, my best friend's growing up, his daughter is assistant manager at the Arby's in Conway, so I get the employee discount when I go there, and she's there.
Good. Arby's, I just throw in the trash. That stuff, I don't even know what it is.
Well, anyway, it used to be pretty good. Their roast beef sandwiches were pretty
Yeah.
good, but last time I got one, I mean, you could tell it was off a loaf and, you know, one of those big industrial loaves, and it was not prepared and didn't look anything like roast beef. It looked like, you know, bologna. Anyway,
Oh.
Chitsa says they heard someone say Birmingham. Who was that? I believe
Me?
that was Terry.
Yeah.
Oh, Birmingham.
I live over the mountain.
Yep, yep.
Got a song and a band I played called Birmingham to Baton Rouge. We used to tour South Central is what we call it. It was, you know, Tennessee, Alabama,
Mhm.
Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, sometimes Arkansas, but it's like this sort of a bootleg that we would
Mhm.
tour on. And I don't know why, but Birmingham, the drive from Birmingham to Baton Rouge it always felt like a long drive.
It is a long
Forever.
drive.
Yeah.
Very long.
Forever. Yeah. And then the other one that is forever is crossing that crazy swamp, you know, between what is it,
Oh,
Baton
Athlone
Rouge
Bay.
and
I drive
Yeah.
that regularly because that's in
God.
between me and my kids.
Ka-thunk, ka-thunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole way it's literally ka-thunk, 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 ka-thunk.
Oh, the roads here
Yeah.
are terrible. But you got to admit, it's still a modern marvel of engineering to have
Oh yeah.
a bridge
Oh
that
yeah.
goes 38 miles in a isolated basin of water.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
like how they
Yeah.
built that. Jesus, they built that in the 40s.
Mm-hmm. You know, and interestingly enough, I mean that bridge is, I mean, cops are on it all the time, you know, because they don't want you going too fast on it.
Actually,
It is.
they recently just put these sensors, and
Oh,
they
did they?
reduced the amount of patrol cars.
Racing?
Racing. Well, I mean, at this point, unless they're like from way out of state, anywhere interstate, like connecting states,
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
generally don't go over
Don't do that.
60. But occasionally, yeah,
Well, in
that's the
Texas, it's
reason why
80.
you would have a trooper on that bridge,
Right,
because it's a
right.
serious danger. Like people have flown off
Mhm.
that bridge into the
Yes.
basin and died
Mhm.
either from the crash or from getting bit by
Drowning.
snakes or drowning or alligator.
Mhm.
Like we can't
Mhm.
find them.
Yeah,
You know.
Wow.
yeah. It is a very funny story about that bridge, Marcus. When my husband, when we met, he lived in Connecticut and I lived in San Antonio. And we literally met online. It was before the Match.com crap, that stuff. We were in a chat room together and had met through the chat and become friends, online friends in the chat. And when he first came to visit me, we got along really well, obviously. So, I mean, things moved on. Well, it became a case of somebody was going to have to move and make it closer if this was going to go any further. And he had 3 kids and I didn't have any. So the choice was pretty easy. Um, you know, not wanting to move the kids out of their schools. Although what he didn't tell me was he was loved to have gotten out of Connecticut. He wanted out of there. If he'd have told me that, then he'd have just moved to Texas and that'd been the end of it. Anyway,
Hmm.
he was hauling a U-Haul trailer. This was when I moved. Hauling a U-Haul trailer on his little Toyota pickup truck, and that bridge apparently there was a weakness in his bumper because going over that bridge, about the time he just got over the bridge, his bumper literally snapped from that
on
trailer.
on the Chaffalad Basin.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And you see a lot of that because people are not used to roads being that bad. And
Hmm.
and so they'll drive cars that aren't really, can't handle that 38 mile ga-dunk, 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 ga-dunk. So shit like that
Yeah.
happens if you got a muffler that's loose, or some people tie strings to keep their muffler up. It's like that
Oh
might
yeah.
come off and
Wow.
then hit somebody, or someone hit it and but blow a tire out. I mean, when there's an accident, you're looking at, it, depending on the severity, you're looking at 1 to 5 hours of
Hmm.
dead
Easy.
stop,
Hmm.
because there's no other way across once you're on it.
No, no, and there's no turn off. There's no,
There
oh, gee
is a
whiz, I'll
welcome
just get
center,
off. Well, there is a welcome center.
and there's
Yeah.
a boat launch.
if your car can float, there
Man,
you
if you
go.
brought a boat, you can just, I've known
Go
people do
fishing.
that. They'd be like, I can't wait to get up to the next exit. I'm gonna pull off with my boat, and I'm just gonna wait for this traffic. I'll go out on the basin,
Go fishing.
see if I can catch some. Exactly.
That does not surprise me at all.
Mm.
Alrighty, so
Oh, I'm glad you brought
Maria
that one
de
up, because that one
Jesus
blew my mind.
Gutierrez. You want a challenge? I'm a vegan and can't have soy for joint pain, gluten for
God.
muscle pain. Whew. Doc says I
That's
have to
brutal.
cut sugar and up my fiber,
On
iron, magnesium, potassium, B
and
and
B
D
and D
vitamins.
vitamins. Go out. You do need to get some sun.
Yeah. I have a gummy, a low carb, sugar free gummy bear recipe. Very
Neat.
simple, very easy. And when I make it, I use instead of using water as the solvent, I use the Pedialyte. I use electrolytes, which is a lot of those trace minerals.
Right, magnesium, potassium, iron.
Mhm.
Got all those in there.
And yeah, I
Put a little
heat that
Metamucil in
up,
there. You
and
got the whole thing
that
covered.
fiber. No kidding. you know, and you just sit here and pop them because they're sugar free. You're dealing with that. There's no soy and there's no gluten in them. Although you put a little Metamucil in that. You got to look at the gluten level on that. I don't think there's any, but
Yeah,
who knows?
Don't listen to my ass.
But I mean,
I'll tell you,
you
put
can
some
make them
red pepper
sound.
in there.
Ooh, yes.
It helped clear your sinus up too, and do all the
But
other
anyway,
things.
so that's one of the things Maria, we could do is get you those gummy bears and make sure that we have those trace minerals in there, and then there are no sugar, no gluten, all of that stuff, and that's just something you could pop, just whenever snacky. Um, I do have my aunt has colitis and celiac, and I think that's what she says. Anyway, she is she's lactose intolerant. I do believe gluten intolerant. She has a whole set of things that she can't have, and I'm kind of
She's just
working a little bit with
intolerant.
her. Yeah, I'm kind of working with her diet right now as well. Who I think probably has some of the same issues that you may have, Maria. So some of the stuff that I'm working on with her, like she got a hold of me the other day. Now, again, she is lactose intolerant, but apparently cheese doesn't bother her. I don't, cheese is lactose, but I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, I'm allergic to sulfa drugs, but
yeah,
I can take sulfa drugs. That makes
yeah,
any sense.
I
It doesn't
can't.
make any damn sense. Like I've taken a sulfa drug and
Yeah,
had an anaphylactic reaction, but then I've been
yeah.
given sulfa drugs again, and
Hmm.
and it was okay.
The interesting thing with my aunt, like I said, she's lactose intolerant, is she got a hold of me the other night and she wanted a cheese sauce for broccoli. Well, my initial go-to is okay. I knew I couldn't do the roux to get her there, so my next go-to is to go to heavy cream and just reduce heavy cream down with
Yeah.
cheese. Okay. And well, she's lactose intolerant. We can't go there. I have almond milk. I have almond cream, and I'm like, uh. I said, okay, well, I'm just throwing this to the winds. I said, take your almond milk, stick it in a pot, throw a little bit of chicken broth in it, and heat it up, get it good and hot, and then start throwing cheese at your cheddar at it. Once
Yeah.
you put the amount of cheddar you want into it, find out how thick it is, and from then on, use Parmesan cheese, because I've used Parmesan to thicken things before, and it's worked really well. And so that takes out all of the gluten, that takes out most of the dairy. I mean, you've got the cheese, but
You're making me hungry.
that was what she did.
I,
And I said, do me a favor, tell me how it works out, because this is literally off the top of my head. I have never tried it. It's untested. Tell me how it works. Because I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck is almond milk going to do to this? And she said it was really, really good. So,
I add a little
anyway.
bit, just a little bit, maybe a teaspoon. I don't measure stuff. I never measure stuff, but I probably should, but I don't. I put a little bit of ranch powder
Hmm.
in the broccoli sauce, whatever I'm making.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just a tiny little
I
bit
could
of
see
ranch
that. I could
powder.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I make a ranch seasoning. But speaking of seasonings, Marcus, I made a blackening seasoning that is up on my. It's in my shorts.
Okay.
That sounded weird. It's in my shorts. Anyway.
Now you put the seasoning in your croissants. That's gotta burn.
Anyway.
You trying to have something hot down there?
I'm having
That's
blackened
hilarious.
redfish for dinner.
Oh, that sounds
Awesome.
Nice.
I did blackened salmon that day. So yeah. My husband, who won't eat salmon, he did it's actually blackened catfish is what we did. So anyway. So yes, Maria, do me a favor, pop me an email off of my it's on my channel. Send me an email of your restrictions and let me see what I can do for you. Give you some ideas anyway. If you don't mind. So let me get back into these. There, that's that one. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm talking or over here doing this chili babies for the win. You guys, it's really funny. Back when I was watching and not doing, I would sit there and watch people go through this process of scrolling through chat, trying to figure out what to do and that type of stuff. And I was always like, why don't they have this all queued up? Well, yeah, no, I know. Yuri Nader. Hello, Yuri. How
Yeah,
many chicken
urinator.
nuggets? Urinator. Yeah, I got it. I was trying
And
to
the question
avoid
is
that.
about as cool as the name.
It's about
Okay.
as cool as it. Okay. How many chicken nuggets do you have to consume for you to completely throw out the bathroom? I don't know. Ask Marty
Each of us.
Rathburn.
They're asking each of us how many chicken nuggets will each of you have to consume for you to completely blow out the bathroom. Well, I can eat 20 chicken nuggets and there's no problem. So I
Probably
mean,
wouldn't
it'd
take
probably
very
have to
many,
be
Judy.
40.
It depends on what chicken nuggets they are. Now, Chick-fil-A chicken
And I-
nuggets, I eat about 30 or 40 of them
I assumed McDonald's, but
because
Yeah.
they're
I'd have to
like
eat 40
really-
and then I'd puke them up. Because that's what you're asking, like to blow out the bathroom. It's not going to come out the bottom.
Depends on the
It's gonna
dipping
come out the
sauce.
front.
I don't eat chicken nuggets. I wouldn't know.
No, it's
I don't
just-
eat chicken nuggets.
It's chicken buttholes. That's all it is. Ground up chicken
Yeah.
buttholes and
Beaks and feathers
bacon,
and
all of that. Yep.
all that stuff. It's what they
Hey,
can't use. What's
waste not,
it's
want
the-
not.
Yeah, it's what they can't use for dog food. It's
mean-
too poor for dog food. You know.
Everyone knows gelatin is ground up horns, right?
Horse,
Yeah, and bone.
horse hooves
Yeah.
and horns.
Yeah.
Hooves, bone and horns.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the longest time, I wouldn't eat Jello because of that. I was like,
Well-
oh no,
Same
I'm not
here.
eating part of a horse.
After one of my surgeries, I lost a lot of weight, and I had a friend who was a dietitian at. He wasn't at GMC or GNC. He was he had his own practice or whatever, and he lost a ton of weight. He was a big guy his whole life. He lost a ton of weight, whatever. So people would go to him and he'd kind of do like what you are talking about, like get with someone on a personal level and figure out what their needs are and all that, and do it in a way that is not so dramatic.
Mhm.
And gelatin, because I had lost so much ligature, or my ligature was weakened from after the surgery and the treatment prior to the surgery.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything, and that's how I tore my Achilles. So it's like everything was just
Mhm.
very brittle and like could tear or stretch. And overstretching is essentially a partial tear. And so he told me, take gelatin and just mix it up in a glass, like with water, and
Mhm.
drink it. And that's an unconventional type of thing. I did it for I didn't do it like as much as he said I should, but I did it like once a week for a couple of months. And I would say there was some I experienced some like tightening and strengthening of my ligature as a result. And I don't know if that's anything that's recommended by dietitians generally or not, but you just literally take whatever flavor you want, pour a whole packet into a glass of water and drink that. It's kind of hard to get down, but it's supposed to he explained it all to me, but it's a chemical reaction, and the gelatin and all the stuff from the ground up hooves and all of the, I guess the good stuff gets routed in your body to the ligatures and the muscles.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I can see that. Sophia had a question, one that both Marcus and I probably have the answer to. What is the difference between scallops and shrimp? I know it's a different animal, but the cost is so much more, and is it healthier? I wouldn't say it's healthier. I'd have to do a little bit more research on what they say about that. I know shrimp has a lot of mercury in it, and I would be imagine because
Iodine
scallops
and
are
mercury.
yeah, iodine and mercury. I'd imagine because scallops also tend to have that filtering dynamic in how they are. They're probably relatively high as well. I'd have to look at that. When you're talking about obviously, they're different animals, but when you're talking about whether or not one is healthier than the other, and the cost difference, well, scallops are a little bit more labor intensive. I will tell you that to process, which is probably part of the reason why the cost is higher. But health wise, I would have to look into that, honestly, Sophia. I don't know. I know I like I like them both. And in certain things, I like shrimp over scallops, but I really, really like a good scallop. So
I mean, scallops are obtained or I just verified this because I know I knew that there was. It's kind of like the Alaskan crab. It's very dangerous to go
mhm,
get that stuff, so it's more expensive. And
mhm,
scallops, yeah, people get them snorkeling a lot.
Mhm.
They'll find these little reefs or
Shoals.
whatever and shoals and snorkel over the beds and could just collect them by hand or use a net.
mhm.
Um, there's other equipment like mesh bags, but it is like you're
Mhm.
a person in the water, like finding this stuff. So scallops are
Mhm. Yeah.
more expensive,
I
more labor intensive.
I think that's probably part of it. What's up, Brian?
Uh, well, first of all, Terry insulted my internet earlier, which is the truth. But you were saying Sophia, and I had to do a double take and look who you're talking to. You're talking to Free Xenu Project, Free Xenu Project, the dude.
Oh well, shit.
There's some scallops there. They look delicious.
You
It's
could have stopped me there, Brian.
You were just hey, it's rude to interrupt. Okay.
Ah.
And my mother raised me to be a gentleman. So
All right. Well,
presentation on those scallops, man.
hey,
that does
yeah,
look
those
good.
are,
Yeah, it
that
does.
is,
Yeah,
On
you're
the
making me
shell.
hungry.
I just well, we got. I think Jenna is not a big seafood fan, so
Oh, so I'm making
I-
her go.
I'm
Yeah.
really not a big seafood fan either. I don't like the very fishy
Oh
taste.
my God.
I love it.
But
Oh my
if it's
God.
cooked right, yeah, I'll eat it. If I'm starving, of course I'll eat it. If it's the only
Mm-mm.
thing to eat, I'll eat it. But actually,
Oh.
the I've had
I see what you're talking about. This.
Yeah. Yeah, which is the truth. I've been having internet problems all week.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just haven't called the technical assistance yet. But I've only had scallops once in memory, and they were made by my ex mother-in-law, and they were delicious. No fishy taste at all. I don't know how she cooked them, but
Huh.
they were delicious.
Awesome. I'm running
Nice.
through Star and some stuff so I can get to him a little bit quickly here, but let's see. I'll pull up another one of the starred comments. Let's see. I've already got that one. We will unstar it.
This place is like literally a block away with that food.
Oh, Marcus.
Man,
That looks amazing.
I
Mm.
told you.
Horsey sauce.
Joe,
is
it has horseradish
sauce.
sauce in it.
Yeah, it has horseradish in
Mhm.
it, and it's very spicy, hot.
Yes. Well, horseradish, of course, is, but
Yeah. Never been
You
a
know,
fan of
and-
horseradish.
and just so you know, Joe, it is illegal in most places in the United States to cook and eat horse meat. In the United States. So qualifying that.
Wow.
Mm,
But anyway, yes, it
crabs
is.
and crawfish.
Oh,
Yes,
Marcus.
Ugh.
We say Birmingham instead of Birmingham.
Yeah, it's bumming ham.
Birmingham.
Hilarious.
Yeah, bumming ham. You got to put that drawl into it.
And then
All right,
here,
for you, Terry.
Oh, Jasper.
a burger.
That's a big burger.
Where's that from?
That's a big bird.
I don't know.
You-
It's got a sesame seed bun.
Eh,
It looks like a decent burger.
This was a discussion about
A news
Seafood.
pork is like that.
Well, I stopped showing the seafood because
I
there's
know, no.
someone who's like, but I was kind of poking at her too, like showing like, oh, you don't like seafood, huh? Well, how about some crawfish and crabs?
There you
and
go. Crawfish it
clams?
will. So, free Xenu project. I'm not making that mistake again. Anyway.
Hey, it's all good.
Free Xenu says, I called it a slider, not a bagel, because 20 minutes later we all had to stop and rush to the toilet. I came out of the
man.
bathroom and said that isn't food. It emptied me out. My body was expelling it.
Yeah.
Oh, poor fella.
Oh,
Chicken
my.
Monterey. Anyone familiar with that recipe?
Sounds good.
Nope.
Okay, there was a restaurant called Bonanza that was
Yeah,
my.
I remember
Bonanza's-
that.
Bonanza's
I
old
remember
school.
banana.
all right. So the Chicken Monterey would do that to my stepdad every time he ate it. So I would always encourage him to eat the Chicken Monterey because he liked it.
Oh, no.
He liked it, and I just have, I'm just like, yeah, eat it because you'll be miserable.
That's funny. My brother, he was my brother is 9.5 years younger than me. So, I mean, I was 13 and he was little, but anyway, and we went to a those buffets, the ritzy buffets the hotels have. My mother wanted to go to one of those. So we went to that for Mother's Day. And, my brother is a huge fan of mashed potatoes. And, so he usually when he'd get a little bit of meat and a little bit of this and that, but he'd get this pile of mashed potatoes on his plate. And he and I are picking our food out, and he's right behind me.
I like
And,
mashed potatoes and French
Yeah, he loves them.
potatoes.
I pick up some of the roast beef, and I go over and I do this, and I look over, and here's my brother going spoon after spoon of this stuff in a bowl next to the roast beef. And I was like, and then I thought, no, I'm going to watch this happen.
I love it.
Oh, it was the funniest thing. He spit horseradish sauce clean across the face. It was hilarious. And I'm dying. I'm laughing. And of course, my mother looks over at me and she realizes I knew what happened beforehand because I was watching for it.
Well, she might have. Yeah. She's your mother. She's probably she knows what's going on before you do. She's like, "What? I know what my daughter's gonna do."
So I'm watching him take. I mean, he took a big old spoon full of this stuff and shoved it in his mouth, and I mean, it was hilarious. And he
Your mom was
he
thinking,
has
"What did I
stories to
do?
tell
What
me.
did I do wrong with this?"
And he has stories on me that he tells at the. And if I never get him to quit being shy and come on, I will let him tell you stories about me, about the time I threw him out of the car and all that shit. But
Oh hell yeah! Ain't nothing but
but
a party.
he-
Sorry for partying.
oh my god. It's kind of funny. Yeah, we're not doing any big. It's not particularly doesn't have to stay on the subject of food today. We are doing kind of having a good old time while we're here. I do want to do. I have. I want to hit my little ticker down there on the bottom. I hope you guys don't mind.
Sure.
And then I've put on my channel. I've added a new little gadget since I'm not monetized yet, and I'm a little ways away from it. I have me buy me a Southern Sweet Iced Tea. So, anybody interested in buying me a
Talk
little
about
Southern Sweet
diabetes.
Iced Tea? I know it. Well, it's really funny. I do that every once in a while. I won't actually. The tea that I do now, I have so many problems with artificial sweeteners and things like stevia and that type of stuff. I only have a couple that I'm tolerant of. And so what I do is I'll make a gallon of tea. And if anybody has ever had Southern Sweet Iced Tea or ever made it, then you know there's at least a pound or 5 pound bag of sugar in about a 5 gallon drum
Yeah.
of sweet iced
Yeah.
tea. At least. I mean, that's minimal.
If it doesn't have crystals down in the bottom of it, it's not Southern tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodbye,
Okay.
kidney.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hello, diabetes. If you want instant
Yeah,
diabetes,
if you want
there's your
diabetes
ticket.
type 2 by the time you're like 35,
Yeah.
Mhm,
sweet tea.
that's your ticket.
Like
Um,
instead of drinking water when you're outside, drink the tea.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, I drink a good amount of water, but what's in this glass here is I don't know. You guys can't
Joe.
see it in the back. What's in this glass here? That's not water. It's my tea. However, for a gallon of tea, since I'm so intolerant of these sweeteners, I just cannot bring I have to have some sort of something other flavor to kind of cut the top end of the bitterness off. And you throw lemon in tea, and to me, it's lemonade. So
Lemon
I
and
just
tea
don't like
makes
lemon and
it's
tea.
nasty.
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So I
BRB.
put for an entire gallon of tea, I have a quarter cup of sugar in it. 1/4 cup for an entire gallon. That's not bad.
No, it's not. What I do is
So
I use honey.
I have tried honey, but
What I'll do is I'll like boil my tea bags and all that stuff for about 10, 12, and then no, actually I'll get it to boiling, and then I'll put my tea bags in it, turn it off, let it steep for like 15 minutes, and after I do that, I'll put a bunch of put honey in it, and then
you're
Goat stopped
here.
running.
Yeah, the
He
hillbilly.
loves
You
that
better
kind
go kick that goat in the rear end. Keep it going. Well, while we're waiting on that, Free Xenu project comment. That's for you, Terry.
It's not country bumpkin just because it's a big hamster wheel with 4 goats. He needs more goats.
He needs to feed them goats. They're falling over dead while they're doing
Yes.
that. So Whitney here says Free Xenu products. Yes, I think it is. I grew up in a landlocked state, so all seafood was suspect. Maybe it's that. It could be, although I've never had trouble getting seafood in a landlocked area, so But yeah, maybe. I mean, it's been shipped. I mean, obviously. And if you're way up you're way out in the middle of nowhere, like Montana or something like that, it's been shipped a long way. So
I wouldn't eat that.
That's a little scary. I love this. Terry says we need to start a GoFundMe for 2 more goats. That's hilarious.
And this is why he's gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I must have missed the start of this, Joe, but wow, really? It's common in France, not so much here. So I'd have to find where that is back in there. All right. Anon says, who else loves goat cheese?
I love goat cheese.
I love goat cheese. Goat cheese is good stuff. But I haven't done a whole lot with my husband will not touch it. He hates it. And so trying to sneak goat cheese into things, he's funny. He likes beef, he likes pork, he likes seafood, but you start throwing things like goat and some of these other meats, he's like, although he'll eat shark, and I won't even eat that. That stuff's nasty. But goat and lamb he will not touch, and he says it's just too gamey. Although he likes venison, and I'm like going, okay.
He'll eat venison and won't eat lamb? That's weird.
Yeah, that was sort of my thought. I was like, okay,
Something to say about that. Depending on the processing and how you do it, venison can taste incredibly similar to meat, regular old ground meat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Poet texted me. He said, tell everyone I'll see everyone later.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm assuming his AOL isn't working that great still.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
You've got...
Mail.
You
no,
got
I mean,
nothing.
you've got what? You going to finish that
No
statement,
mail.
AOL? No. You've got...
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Absent without leave. You got no bandwidth and absent without leave.
Oh my God. Thanks for the trigger.
Sorry about that.
LOA. CSWs.
Uh-oh.
Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. Scientology.
I hear you.
Lord.
So Wendy Moore says we go home. When we go home, we usually go to Maui and Moloch. Moloch. How do you say that, Marcus? Molokai.
Molokai.
Now Molokai. Oahu breaks my heart. It has changed so much. Now I know they had a fire there recently. Is that what you're referencing, or are you just talking about how much it's grown and become commercial? You know.
I'm pretty sure there was fire on Oahu.
Yeah. Peace and Love enjoys this one. Chinese mustard was a big surprise the
Ooh.
first time you tried. He tried.
Me too.
You know, that clears out the sinuses.
Well, I'm saying, red pepper, Chinese. I use that. I use anything that'll do that a lot in my cooking because, there's a lot of heat in the dishes. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
etouffee. People, it's almost like this addictive thing. It's like with people with hot wings, similar thing.
Yeah.
You can make a gumbo that way. You don't have to go that hot with it, but yeah, I use
can't do
Creole
that
I
much
use
heat.
Chinese mustard in some of my Creole
Yeah.
recipes.
Well, it's like, Marcus, if you look at that blackening seasoning, as you saw me make, as you see me making up the seasonings, the spices out, you'll notice that I don't have any cayenne in there. I have shifted part of the paprika, the smoked paprika, over to sweet paprika. All this because I have people in my family that are very, very, have stomach issues to make them spice sensitive. So I have to do some
I had to
adjustments.
change my cooking for my kids too, you know.
Yeah.
They're not living with us, so I can cook for me and Cynthia,
Mm-hmm.
and
you can spice it up.
we like spicy, yeah.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So, it's the blackened seasoning that I made is probably not an authentic. You look at that and go, really, you need to do this, this, and this, and I know you will. But the reason that I went the direction I did was because of that issue, that situation. So if you look at that, realize that that's why I made some adjustments that are kind of like, what, but it was really good.
Blackened fish and blackened chicken is like, it's just, with the fish, you make your seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I put oil on it,
Mm-hmm.
put the seasoning on there, and then cook it for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Just to get that really good
Do it on the
crust
grill,
on it.
and I haven't mastered doing it on the grill. I know people who can grill.
I can't do it on the grill either.
I have never done blackened on the grill. I haven't done a whole lot of fish on the grill. I'm working that direction, but I need to get the right equipment because fish and shrimp and that type of stuff, it's so easy for that stuff to break apart and fall through. And so you really need a fish basket. Or
the first time that I did it, my heart broke because I had all this
lost
catfish.
most of it.
Blackened catfish is so good, and it fell into the. I'm like, no.
Yeah. So what you need a fish basket. They make a little fish basket turner thing that you can use on the grill. On the shrimp, I use I use my cast iron. I have a grill pan, flip it over, and it's a griddle. And I just put, because we're just going for the flavor is what we're going for. So I put that on my grill, and that's how I cook the shrimp. A whole lot easier. So yeah. But you lose most of it in grilling if you're talking about fish or seafood, most seafood. Now, you do lobster, just cut the sucker in half, put butter on it, and set it on the grill, and you're fine. It'll stay there. But any of these more delicate fish and shrimp and scallops and that type of stuff, you got to have something to kind of keep it under control. So, Frizzini project
just came into my head when you're talking
about
just like
the
lobster.
Shell. Yeah.
Yeah, when you mentioned the lobster, I was thinking of smoked crab.
Smoked crab, yeah. Interesting. I have one of the things that I can't remember. I think it was the burger spice that I put it in, but smoked sea salt. You know how easy it is to smoke your own sea salt, and you can use different. different woods. Pellet smoker is better, but all you do is you take a bowl, put it in your smoker, turn the smoke on, and whatever flavor you can do, applewood, you can do cherry, all of that stuff, and just
I
smoke
hate
the salt.
applewood.
Yeah, well,
Like
post
applewood
oak,
cake.
whatever. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, it's very easy to smoke your own salt. So if you can't find it in your store, just get you some kosher salt, stick it in a bowl, and turn on your smoker.
Isn't crack a salt?
Crack
Like,
of salt.
yeah, crack.
Oh, I don't know. I don't do
Is
that
it-
shit.
I don't
It's
know.
me.
I think it's
I
a
don't.
salt. Master P has a song.
I didn't-
with
hey.
recipe.
Hey, I didn't grow up in a cult. I don't do that shit.
Well, I didn't grow up in a. Yeah, you did. You grew up in a. You have culture.
Oh well, yeah. I
You
grew up
didn't
in
grow up
Texas.
in
Is that a
in
cult?
Did you grow up in a coercive environment where
I did.
you did?
With my mother, yes.
Yeah. So you did grow up in a cult, in a
one, yeah.
culture of coercion, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why
Um,
you identify with SPTV and the victims of this.
Could
sort of
be,
stuff.
yeah. Could be that, and I certainly want to help those poor people coming out of Sea Org who's never seen the inside of the kitchen.
Right.
That's the other thing. So, Freezy New Project has a 2-part plot apparently. Part 1, I think most of my interesting cooking experience was on road trip that was 600 miles. No one wanted to stop long, so we cooked our burgers by wrapping them in the aluminum foil.
What?
Yep.
Put them in the
We
valve.
put them
Oh, I
in
knew
between
it
the
was
valve
coming.
covers. In the 18-wheeler, I cooked an entire set of chicken breasts sitting on the over by the turbo, on the 18, on the big engine, as we drove down the road. I've done that.
I
So
cooked
yeah,
eggs on the car using tinfoil.
yeah.
Put tinfoil on the hood. I mean, it gets hot down here, so yeah.
Oh
You
God,
cook
yeah.
It takes a little
Yeah.
longer, even if it's like super hot. Like I remember it taking longer than I thought it would to cook all the way through. But yeah, it didn't take that long. It's like 5-10 minutes. Cook an egg. You crack an egg, drop it on the hood. Okay. Or concrete. You just some tin foil, put it on concrete. If it's hot enough, it'll cook.
Put it in your window, on your dashboard.
Yeah, anywhere where there's heat.
Yeah, Joe was saying that the comment earlier was regarding horse meat. They eat it in France. I've tried it there. Not bad, but like lean beef, but tougher. So that was the fact that they used horse hooves in gelatin was the whole reason I didn't eat Jello as a kid.
Well, yeah, they
So-
were killing unicorns and shit. To
Yeah, I
make
mean, come
Jell-O
on.
for kids. It's like, hey, did you know that you're eating so and so
Yeah.
unicorn from cartoons? That's
Well,
right.
that was before my time, or that was after my time. But
Oh yeah, My
all
Little
of
Pony.
the-
There we go. That's you
Yeah.
can tell a little kid like, did you know that you're
Yeah,
eating?
yeah.
What's one of the My Little Ponies, Chad? Do you know any of them?
Oh, I don't know. I never really was into My Little Pony.
Well, neither was I. My daughter was.
Oh, okay.
I was.
I only ate
I
a
was.
boy. Yeah.
They came in, and I was in my 20s. So
Yeah. No,
I remember
they're
the ads for him on
actually a great
TV.
little show.
I do remember the ads, but that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
know the
we've
little
been
song.
challenged there, Chad. Do you see this?
Simply and
My
Cooking
Little
with Shadow.
My Little Pony. Ah.
I don't know about cooking in real time though.
He's a little concerned, Joe. He's a little concerned. I've told him. I said, you can cook, and because I think his kitchen's relatively close, considering the fact we hear his microwave when Chaz is there, right in his ear. Whereas mine's like over a counter and in a different room, and so trying to get if I could figure out how to get this mic to Bluetooth, so like I would do some more of the to my computer. I would do some live stuff. My mentor, I am doing a collaboration. We're working out the kinks right now. Going to be doing a collaboration with my mentor, Chef Sean, and he showed me a little mic that plugs into the phone
Earpiece.
that will send it to we'll send it to the um, computer. So I mean, we're working on it. So that's coming. So we're working on it. Anywho, let's see what's this. So Chitza is a raw oyster gal. We used to get a bushel bag for Christmas Eve. I grew up in Alabama/Florida state line. Good oysters are easy access. Not anymore, and certainly not after the New Horizon happened. So they're much harder to come by. In that. So I don't know what sound we're talking about here, but Whitney at Frizinu says that Whitney, I know of a hotel that had an African gray parrot that did the sound perfectly, so much that people would look around and say, "You guys have dial up here? Oh, that's hilarious." African grays are the best. I can tell you a story about an African gray parrot. Now, a lot of you guys know, or some I've mentioned in the past that I used to be a veterinary assistant for about 8 years in an emergency clinic, or one that did a lot of emergencies. And we had a client who had an African gray parrot, and we'd see the bird every once in a while. Really rarely. It was only when they went somewhere and the bird would stay at the clinic with us. And we kept the bird in the doctor's office and away from all the other animals. And so one day we have, we have a waiting room full of patients. We have both exam rooms and the treatment room going. There was 5 vets that were working at the time, so all of them had an animal. And I had a vet. I was the assistant for one of the guys. His name was Dr. Gates. And he was one of those people that if you said tampon, he would turn bright red. I mean, we're talking, Coca-Cola can red. So we're in there. We have a lab on the table. He's listening to this lab's heart. And all of a sudden, we start hearing from back in the doctor's office, harder, 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 harder. And Dr. Gates looks up and sees red. Looks up over the back of this dog and says, "Shut that bird up. I don't care how you do it." So, oh, yes, sir. So I go back into the lab, around behind the receptionist desk, so all of the people see me kind of go through there, down the hallway, through treatment, through X-ray, and into the vet's office. I mean, it's a big circle. And into the vet's office, I throw a sheet over the bird. Now, not thinking, I go out the door of the vet's office into reception. All right. And of course, everybody's looking at me. And I'm like, "It's a bird," and they're, "Yeah, okay. It's a bird." And off I go. So the owner comes in to pick the bird up. And I don't remember her name. But anyway, it was a couple of African-American people. And great people. Awesome people. But anyway, Dr. Gates is the one who's releasing the bird. And usually when, you come and pick up an animal, you just bring the animal out to you and you go your merry way. Well, Dr. Gates says, "Put them in exam room 1 and bring that GD bird." And so, yes, sir. And put the bird in there, brought them in. So if you come to pick up an animal from boarding and you get put in an exam room, usually it's because something has happened and we need to tell you about it. Anyway, so Dr. Gates comes in and he looks at the owners and he says, "You do realize that African grays are the most prolific talkers of all the bird species?" And yeah. And he says, "I would suggest you not put your bird in your bedroom." And the owner, the lady looks, "How did you know that's where it is?" And I went, "Harder, harder." And of course, bright red.
Oh my
It was
God. Oh my God. Are you serious?
I'm dead
Harder.
serious.
Harder. Yeah.
So it was
Harder.
kind of a funny story, and I have quite a couple of funny vet stories that are in my, but that's one of them. So anyway, so I just shared a little
That's
bit of that
freaking
with you.
hilarious.
And
To me, that's freaking hilarious. That's funny.
it was really funny. And I mean, the funniest thing, we had another bird that would sing opera, so that was kind of fun. But anyway, of course they moved the bird out of the room, and I don't think we ever saw them again after that. I think she was too embarrassed, but it was really funny. Anyway, let me get back. What is this? Okay, so fun fact: the cloth pad used for applying French polishing with shellac is also called a tampon. Oh, that's hilarious.
It is funny.
That's funny. Well, and that's what I find so interesting about different cultures and different areas of the world and linguistics. When my dad married my stepmother in California, and my stepmother spent a lot of time in England, and had a very, very good friends that came to the wedding, and I flew to California to be there, and I'm in, we're going down and we're gonna go have dinner, and her husband, the people from England, her husband says, "Okay, it's 2 o'clock now. I'm gonna knock you up at 4 o'clock," and I'm like, "Excuse me? No, you're not."
You knocked nothing up. You think you knocked some boots?
Like, what? No, I just met you. I'm not that kind of girl.
And then he's all confused, like, what did I say?
Exactly. So I mean, it's really interesting to find out, what the different things mean. I mean, obviously, knock you up means I'm going to come and knock on your door and let you know it's time to go or whatever. But here in the States, it's a totally different connotation. And it's like, no, my husband talks about the first time he was somewhere, and probably England, I don't remember, when he was in the Navy and had some guy come up and ask him for a fag. And he's like, "I'm not a fag." Didn't know that it was a cigarette.
Right.
So, I mean, these different things that people call things. I mean, somebody from like New York, if I were to say to you, "Hey, Chad, do you hear about that Aggie joke? Do you know what I'm talking about?"
No.
And that's a pretty basic, but you know what an Aggie is? Hey,
No.
an Aggie is in Texas. Okay, now an Aggie elsewhere may be something. Terry may have a totally different definition, but an Aggie is an alumni or a member going to a school called Texas A&M. And
our Auburn Tigers played y'all last weekend.
Hey, I didn't say I did not say I was an Aggie. I live in Austin.
That's okay.
Hook 'em horns.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we're speaking a language Chad doesn't even understand.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but it's a total language. Okay. So, Hook 'em Horns is the Texas Longhorns, the University of Texas. Texas A&M is sort of used to be the big rival. They used to have I don't even think they do that in the Governor's Bowl where the Aggies and the Longhorns would play. The Longhorns have moved on to a different no. Well, they both have. The Aggies really moved into the Alabama. What was that? What's that conference?
SEC.
SEC. Yeah, they moved over into there, and that's a tough conference.
No kidding.
But so anyway, that's what an Aggie is. But even in the United States, there's terms that people in different areas would take totally differently. I mean, an Aggie is not one of them. I mean, I guess, if you were to ask somebody who didn't know, they would say, "What must be somebody who owns a farm," But yeah, it's very interesting to.
What was it? Was Texas A&M the state's agriculture school? Is that why they're called Aggies?
Yes, it's where the vet school. It's the only vet school in Texas, so that's where the vet school is. And it's one of the top in the nation. Actually, there's a lot of people who come in and go to A&M. For 1,000 spots into the vet school at A&M, they have probably 100,000 applicants. So, that's per year. So, yeah, it's the agricultural school. It's a big ag tech school. So,
Yeah, and there's a lot of agriculture here at LSU Ag. And
LSU.
I tell you, the
And
Tigers
it,
and Aggies ain't really all that friendly, them, no.
no, they
And then
know.
they got an Aggie joke.
Oh, we got all kinds of Aggie jokes.
Oh, yeah, Cajun joke, Aggie joke. Y'all want to hear a joke
Go right
about
ahead.
Aggies? All right. Boudreaux, who is always Boudreaux or Thibodeau is always one of a character in these jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Boudreaux was sitting in the bar in Maurice, Louisiana, one Saturday night and had a couple of beers under his belt. Got a good buzz going. Three, four
Mm-hmm.
beers, maybe. After a while, he looked around. He saw a guy sitting next to him and asked him, "Hey, you want to hear a good Aggie joke, you?" It was a
Mm-hmm.
big guy, and he replied. He said, "Let me tell you something. I'm an oil field roughneck. I weigh 270 pounds, and I don't like Cajuns. My buddy here is a football player, weighs 300 pounds, and he doesn't like Cajuns either. His friend on the other side is a professional wrestler, weighs 320 pounds, always has a chip on his shoulder, and he likes Cajuns even less than we do, and we all Aggies. Do you really want to tell us the Aggie joke?" Man, Boudreaux, all 150 pounds of Cajun attitude, told him, "Man, I guess not. I don't want to have to explain it 3 times."
I've got one. There's two old boy, two Aggies, and they're going to the football game, and you know how it is. You can't ever find your car in the parking lot.
I don't
So
ever go, but I see the parking lot like LSU.
yeah,
It's insane.
it's
The
it's
whole
in,
city.
it's
Probably
insane.
It's the same exact thing there.
Oh God, yes. So anyway, so they decide to make it easier to find their car or their transportation. They're gonna ride a camel. So these two old boys get on the camel and they're riding this camel to the
Love it already.
game. Okay. They're riding this camel and they get there and they tie up their camel. They go into the stadium and they stay for the game. Well, they come back out and there's all these camels lined up. And one of them looks at the other and says, "How in the hell are we going to find our camel?" And the other one says, "Oh, that's going to be easy. All the way down here, I kept hearing, look at those two assholes on that camel."
See, it's each has their own unique like cultural humor. I love the Aggie jokes and the Cajun jokes, and especially because they're always picking on each other. The Aggies and the Cajuns.
Oh God, yeah. And and the Longhorns are in there too, boy.
Longhorns. Yeah. I mean, those are the big ones. The LSU.
Yeah, right. LSU has a great vet school too, and it's
They
nice.
have
It's
a lot
relatively
of really
close.
good stuff now.
Yeah,
A friend of mine started a VR company 10, 15,
really.
15 years ago. Yeah, called King Crow Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got all of the contracts for VR development for GSA, Government Service Awards.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, he got them years ago, so it's like, but what he's done is he's helped invest into the college programs because he needs employees and he needs them to be, skilled in specific things in VR and tech, and so they have a really good tech program there and here in New Orleans at Tulane and
Awesome.
the other one, North Shore, University of New Orleans.
Nice. So Free Xenu project. So that's in. What's even more hilarious about that is I knew a woman that raised African greys, and she told me, unlike most birds, African greys actually have an 8-year-old mentality and know what they are saying.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
So they can just
That
be a permanent 8-year-old. Like
Uh-huh.
you have a toddler around, but it's a bird
and it talks.
and it
And it
talks.
talks.
Yes.
That's
Oh.
hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It can be great. I've had some family members that had bird owners. My brother owned a talking parrot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get into some trouble. And the thing about birds, and going into some of the things that Joel,
Maybe it was a macaw. I can't remember. Did macaws
I
talk?
love macaws. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It might have been a macaw.
As you say, there's people who get magpies, and they're really prolific, but can really talk.
Is that
But
legal? I didn't think you could have them. Magpies.
it's iffy.
Yeah.
I
it's
think
very-
it has to do with how it's raised, whether or not they can do that. But yeah, the thing is about a bird, and people who have
eat
birds really, well, yeah, if you want to, but people who have birds really should keep this in consideration when they get pets. If you decide you're going to go get a bird and purchase it, and we're talking budgies. Budgies will do this too. Birds will live over 100 years old if they're treated correctly. If they're put in, fed, put in the right areas, that type of thing. Those types of things. If they're treated well, a bird can live well over 100 years old. Well, if you get a bird at 30 and it's going to live to be, say the bird's 7 or 8 years old, it's going to outlive you. And so you need to make sure that you have something in play
be a
for
good
what happens
parent.
to that bird.
You got to
Yeah,
be a good parent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really and truly, even if you have cats or dogs, you don't know if tomorrow you're going to walk out and be hit by a bus, God forbid, but or you're
No.
going to get in a car wreck or any of those things. So you need to have something in place.
Pulmonary embolism. Just
Yeah, you never have a heart attack and die. I mean, I have a friend who, and if you were ever in Nashville, Marcus, you might have. I think we talked about this.
I
He's
lived
big,
in
tall.
Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah, big, tall, blonde bass player named Gage Becker. He was on stage playing at a gig in one of the clubs,
What
and
year?
had. You would ask me that. I know he was in that area back in '98. He's
Okay.
still there.
That's okay. That sounds familiar. I was there 99 to 0. I moved there in 2000, but I was gigging and stuff there in 99 and
Maybe-
moved there in 2000, and I moved
Yeah.
from there in 2002.
Yeah. You and I were there about the same time. But he
Deja vu.
actually, yeah, he actually literally was in the middle of the gig, and his bass guitar caught him as he hit the floor. He had a massive heart attack.
Yeah, I seem to remember
he-
something hearing about
Yeah,
that.
he survived that.
It was in. Do you know where the gig was? Like,
No,
was it in
I don't
town or was it? Okay.
Yes, it was in Nashville.
Like downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, he literally had one of those widowmaker heart attacks on stage, and of course everybody was there, so he was, it's not like he was by himself, but how easily that he could have lost his
He's
life.
lucky it wasn't. Yeah, he's lucky because being downtown, he's right there by the hospital.
Yeah.
And playing a gig downtown, there's going to always be cops and emergency medical personnel.
Yeah.
If you're playing at a gig like the Wild Horse Saloon, like they have a whole staff in addition to all of that kind of monitors that behavior. Make sure people have that proper exits for emergencies and all that.
Yeah, but like I said, anything can happen, so you need to make sure you have something in place for what's going to happen to your pets. Should anything happen to you,
Good idea.
That's why I have Casey. He was not a planned dog for me to have, but my best friend passed of cancer, and he had nowhere to go, so he came to me. She did not make those plans. And so I made those plans for her and said, no, if he has nowhere to go, if nobody in the family can take him, he can come here and he will have a home, and he always will.
You're bringing up an excellent point between the difference between what I consider like people who own pets and people who have pets that are family, you know, because some people, it's not like family. It's like they're a pet.
Yeah, exactly. But you still have to have somewhere to go. I mean, those dogs end up in the shelter.
Yeah,
that's why
not
you
their
see
problem.
seniors
That's
in
their
shelters.
pet's problem.
Oh yeah, that's why you see senior dogs in a shelter.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know, which is horrid. Anyway,
absolutely, yeah. Oh.
So please do make sure that you guys do that at home. Make some plans for your pets if you have them. You know, this group of people, the SPTV, and
what a wonderful thing to say.
Thank you.
And, you know, if the apocalypse happens and you just so happen to have to eat a bird and it's your pet, I think God will forgive you.
I might not, but God will. Anyway, and I know Joel won't. So Joe DeCeppo says, for people interested in languages and linguistics, the Nerdy Bunch, me, Mark Turi, Juliana, Stevo, and Chad, our friend Chad here, will be exploring the history of the Hungarian language tomorrow. Tell me about that, Chad.
Well, no, Mark's got to tell you about that. Him and Joe are the experts.
Oh my God, I love Mark Turi.
Yeah, me too.
Love what he does. There. I mentioned My Little Pony earlier. Now, this ties in to some of Mark's meta knowledge about the character who plays Q in Star Trek: The Next Generation, because Q is basically the same guy in My Little Pony. He's the major villain. He's like the Q of that universe, and he voices it, and he played it. So just a little meta nerd stuff, since we're talking about the Nerdy Bunch here. And I love meta. I love diving into meta in a lot of different subjects. Just love it. That's why I love Mark Turi.
Awesome. That's interesting.
Meta.
Yeah. I used to, back when I was gaming, I used to play World of Warcraft. In fact, I was like a guild leader and all kinds of stuff.
That's my gamer tag right there. I was guild leader too.
Yeah. I was a alliance. Well, I initially started out Horde, and then we had to move servers. The server that we were on was dying, as you well know, a lot of them have. And I'm doing classic. I'm not doing retail.
Right.
And so we moved over to different. My mage.
Okay. You're a healer or DPS?
Mage? Glass cannon?
Okay. Hey, you could go either way with it. I never played WoW. I played Fallen Earth.
On World of Warcraft, on World of Warcraft, the mage is only a damage deal. It just depends on what kind. And
okay.
Yeah, they're
because I played the retail, and that's different. The retail is way different.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And with classic, that's not the way. But anyway, so I was a mage, and my name was the reason that I got really into it was because when the panda came, we discovered I couldn't wear a mask. I had some sort of PTSD issue with masks. Like, where it came from, we don't know. But I couldn't wear one.
Breathing, if you have any sort of I'll share something if it's okay.
Okay, sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, if you've ever had a hand on your neck or have been asphyxiating or drowning, which I have, and maybe you have as well, having something over your face, it can be triggering as hell. So
yeah, God forbid I be smothered when somebody tries to kill me.
And the thing is, you're getting plenty of oxygen. There's nothing wrong with the mask. It's just your autonomic nervous system or whatever, your nervous system is like telling you through this trauma.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, you get the. I mean, if it got. For me, it doesn't get to that point where I'm getting cortisol squishes on the back of my medulla. But
Mhm.
I do get those when I go out in public, and I get hyper vigilant and whatnot, and just like super focused on every, like I keep track of 100 people, just
Yeah.
scanning. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just
Yeah, that's rough.
that was a comment on
Hmm.
the masks. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you
you
can't you
can't.
put a mask on me. I can't you have about 45 seconds, maybe a minute
I understand. I do. I
before I
really
start
do.
melting down.
That's why I
And
never gave anybody crap for not wearing masks. It's like, they may have something like that. The
yeah.
domestic stuff is pretty common,
Hmm. Well,
unfortunately.
I had bought two of these, they're called runner's masks, and they have a
Hmm.
fan in them. I had
Oh,
bought,
I
I
saw
bought
some of
two of
those.
those. But the
Those
problem
look
is like
cool.
cell phones, anything that you plug into a USB port or plug in that has a battery that runs off
Yeah,
of,
power.
the power, the length of time that it stays, charged gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
Mm.
And it doesn't,
We,
that's
that
built
in a
into.
matter of time, we'll have better technology, but
Right. Right. So unfortunately, I would put one on in the morning and go to work, and at lunchtime I had another one that I had plugged in, and at lunchtime I would change them out. Well, ran a little bit late one day, and I was in the bakery and was cleaning the tortilla. Have you seen the tortilleria, the tortilla plates that go around and they spits out flour tortillas at the grocery store?
mm,
Tortilla making machine.
yeah, I think I have one. I worked one
Yeah.
at a restaurant.
Yeah, it has those discs in it that you have to keep clean.
Right.
So I was in there cleaning the discs, and my mask ran out, and so immediately I just pulled it down.
Yeah,
And
because you felt asphyxiated, huh?
yeah, and the big guys, the big from corporate were in the store when this happened, and I realized that I could not be out on the floor with this mask not on my face. And so I put it back on and tried to continue on,
Hmm.
and progressively melted
Anxiety.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
complete meltdown, and ended up ran to the back,
So
yanked
you
the
got the
mask
whole
off.
cortisol
Oh,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. Just really complete meltdown. And at that point, they talked to me a little bit, and they said, what do you want to do? And I said, if this doesn't work, then this is what you got with me. And so, and I ended up going on short-term leave, and that ended up long-term. That ended up in after a year. It was just, made sense. You can't expect somebody to have you on their roster and be holding a job for you for if you're not there for a year. So
Sure.
that's kind of what happened, and I totally understand, and I'm not upset with the company about it. But the fact remained that I can't wear a mask for very long.
Right.
And I always wondered why, when I was in the vet world, why it was that I was very anti. I didn't want to put a mask on, and it's interesting, now with the
Well, yeah. I
pandemic
mean, I've
and
been
whatever.
strangled. I've been drowned. I've been,
And strangled
asphyxiated,
and
and
mhm.
it's like when that it's just a trauma
It's
response.
irrational. Yeah, yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
couldn't figure out what, and the only way to have me wear a mask is to drug me to absolute oblivion.
Right.
You
Sure.
know.
Yeah. They give you a benzodiazepine, or you could drink, and that
Yes.
would work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But then you
those
go to your
aren't
driver's test, and
adaptive.
it's like,
Those
yeah,
are
that's
more
not a good idea.
maladaptive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maladaptive
Yeah. And
coping.
and you go to your driver's test, and you're drunk and you're high on pills. I mean, come on. It's not a good
Oh
idea.
yeah, and they'll tell you that it's adaptive coping, and you're like, "Oh yeah, here,
Yeah.
just take this."
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'm not I'm not like a purely holistic person. I believe in medicine. Medicine is a magnificent thing. There are
Uh-huh.
medicines that save people's lives, and children's lives and stuff. But to for something, it's almost as if the well, it's not almost as if, but I got to be careful how I say this. But
Mhm.
pharmaceutical drugs, and the companies that make them, um,
Mhm.
do
Big
have
pharma.
shareholders. Yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
you can say big pharma. Okay.
I don't
Uh,
care.
So
I'm not monetized.
oh, okay. Yeah, so, they do have major incentives to sell the hell out of these drugs.
Hmm.
And so doctors, I think about it like the old school radio payola. It's a
Hmm.
lot of it's under the table or in incentives,
Hmm.
right? So, a radio station may play your song in the 1960s and make you a rock star or something. And
Hmm.
you may have to pay money for it, or if you happen to be an artist that is connected to a whole bunch of other artists and is connected to people and has a network that can be utilized for
Hmm.
that entity to grow and expand and get more advertisers, etc., and so on, make more
Hmm.
money, then it's pretty much the same thing. What they're doing it
Yeah.
with doctors, the big pharma does it with doctors, and
Yeah.
that's something that has oversight in Congress to some degree. But as you know, there's also lots of lobbyists that are there on behalf of big pharma.
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like it's. I'm not saying we're in a horrible position, but there's been
Right.
some big screw ups. You know,
Yeah.
there's been some big screw
Yeah.
ups.
Yeah. I get it, and they used to see it in the vet business too. There's a company called Hill Science Diet. Um, you could not. We had to
Oh, I've got a
push.
comment there, don't I?
Yeah, you
Sorry.
do. Um, we used to have to push Hill Science Diet because basically
What is
that
Hill
was the
Science
company.
Diet?
It's a Hills is a company that makes dog food. It's for dogs, dog food.
Oh, okay, okay. Nutrition
And
company
so,
kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah, and all the vets push the Hills brand, and now they don't have quite as good a hold
Well, there you
as
go.
they used
See,
to.
again, grease the palm, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, they don't have quite as. I mean, there's vets who are doing O&E. There's vets that are doing Pro Plan now. A couple of vets I know do Royal Canin. So
Right.
they did used to be. So Hills had that monopoly, and now not so much. You know.
Yeah.
So there's your comment, Marcus.
So, this is from Free Xenu Project, and it changed to parentheses of Farsec. Is that the Farsec community? That's a question I have for you. You can respond in the comment. The Farsec boards. So the comment is in Theta. I wonder if that was the problem my uncle had with the masks. He wouldn't wear them, but he was in Korean War, and his son said he wouldn't wear a mask to save his life. Now, I have heard veterans say a mask ain't gonna save your life. In this, when we're talking about
The panda.
what? Thank you, because I was gonna say the other one. Um, yeah, the panda. So like my brother, who's worked in law enforcement and emergency services for 30 plus years, was one of those guys. Just like, ain't gonna do nothing, man. And then my
Mm.
uncle, who also retired firefighter, um, ain't gonna do nothing. I bet you a lot of nurses probably really didn't care either, but it was part of the protocol, and they are used to doing that at hospitals, so they just follow the protocol.
Hmm.
But I would surmise, and I want to say I've even heard some stories because one of my previous employers was a retired Air Force crew chief for AWACS C-130s, reconnaissance planes, and I've heard veterans say that you know in certain situations where they were required to wear masks, it was completely pointless because you're going to die anyway. And so, like, that could be one of those things that was like, it was such an inconvenience when you're in, like, these guys are in either military operations, which are highly stressful, and being
Hmm.
asked to do this, what they consider a menial thing, considering they could die at any moment. Or be shot out of the sky or
Hmm.
attacked with a torpedo. You know what I'm saying? In those particular situations, which they have alerts and then they have practice alerts, while they're deployed, readiness alerts and all this stuff. That stuff is all very much like reminds me psychologically of what the fire drills were when we were building the mission at Melrose, because they would keep us constantly and wake us up and be like, "Are you ready? Are you ready? We got to do this, whatever it is." And so like that's like a unique type of also. I don't know if I'd call it a trauma response, more like just get someone who has been exposed to so much of it that it just doesn't even bother them anymore. It's like nurses. I see that a lot with nurses. The other comment says his son said he had to wear a mask while he was in the war, and it did. See, there you go, and it did something to him. So he had to wear a mask, like, and he was probably in a situation where it's like, are you kidding me? Like, a mask? Like, yes, it's rules are rules. Follow orders, soldier. Yes, sir. Whatever. And our military hasn't been modernized to sort of to accommodate for some basic psychological needs. I'm not even going to say that they accommodate for most, even now, because every VA person, every person that I know that's had to deal with the VA, they wait until it's just almost like disability. They're like, well, if we wait, maybe they'll die,
Yeah.
and maybe we won't have to pay. And they wait to the last minute. And then if you're still alive and you're still applying and you're still doing all of the stuff that you have to do, then they're like, okay, fine, we'll put him in a home and he can die in peace. That's what happened to my dad. So, yeah. And then he and his wife he and his wife of their health problems didn't make it, but only because, I'm guessing you're on mobile, but only because they felt they had a good life and they wanted the respirators to go to someone younger that needed it. And that is another thing you'll see with survivors and veterans and stuff like that, is that they'll go without, especially during the hurricanes and stuff. Like I had 8 people within 5 days, because we couldn't even get into the parish for the first 3 days. That 4th day we got in, within 2 days, so that's a total of 5 days, I had 8 guys willing to drop whatever they were doing, and they had tons of property damage. There were power lines down everywhere. My hometown was completely decimated. Great footage online. Some people got that main CNN or that main Weather Channel guy who's like the Grim Reaper was there in Lake Charles. And these guys dropped all what they were doing just to come help us move all of my buddy Dale's studio equipment, which was like $120,000 worth of studio equipment. And there were looters and stuff in the area. It had to be done quickly. And there was no cell coverage because there were over 1,400 mainline towers, the 5-story towers, out of commission. They had to replace 1,400. These are the big boys, the ones that are supposed to be able to withstand 150 mile an hour winds. Yeah. So Parsec, the planet where psychiatrists are from. Oh, okay, that's the thing. Anyways, yeah, they wanted the respirators to go to someone who needed it. In other words, they were willing to go without and put their needs
on the line.
Well, their needs, their maybe not their life, because they think they'll be all right, right?
Yeah.
And like, as
But
someone
there's
else
that
needs
chance.
there is always that chance. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're putting someone else's needs in front of their own, and it's a real it's like there's a morale, a group morale that arises when you are in a culture like that, military and stuff. So great comment, Free Zuni Project.
Great comment. I hope this. I've been calling Free Xenu Sophia. So Sophia, I hope I get. I'm sorry.
Mock is Sophia. Yeah.
Yeah. So I apologize, Sophia. Anyway, Sophia says, I made my own mask because I couldn't have the snug ones and got specific ones of the material, of the medical ones. I got the need to wear them, but I had to figure out how they could work for her. So yeah,
We did
I
something
couldn't do them at
similar
all.
over here.
Oh, I had this little.
What about you, Chad, down in
basket.
Florida? I heard they didn't wear no mask down there.
Oh, well, in Clearwater, Buffalo, no, they didn't give you an option. You had to wear masks everywhere.
Oh yeah, you're not in Clearwater. I always forget
Oh,
because you're
it's
Clearwater,
okay.
Chad. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell
but
you,
in Buffalo
ain't
though,
no-
there was no choice. You had to wear them.
really down here
Yeah.
around the plants and stuff, all the petrochem industry stuff, like they followed it and they followed the recommendation, the guidelines, whatever. But a lot of them did get sick, and I mean, I know of 4 or 5 people working in plants that got sick and died.
Mhm.
And yeah, some people who were just friends of plant workers, retired, same thing, get sick and die. The people get sick and die. Panda, I don't know. It's so weird. You got to skirt around the topic like that.
Yeah, that is
I know.
ridiculous.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not like you're not talking about something that everybody is experiencing. Everybody's experiencing things
Well,
involved with Panda.
freedom of
You know.
speech. Like what can I say?
Agreed. How come
But
you can
this is a private
curtail what?
platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I mean, you have rules.
That's what I'm
it's just
talking.
like
I've
you
been
have
thinking
rules that
about
come in
setting
your
up my
house.
own damn server with Delta Gold Media with my friend Matt.
There
over
you
in
go.
Austin. Broadcast whatever the hell we want.
Yep.
There you
As long as
go.
it's within FCC broadcast guidelines. I used to work
Exactly.
in radio, and I know that stuff. That's why I'm not really worried about all these claims I'm getting. I've got the paperwork if they need it.
Yeah. So Sophia continues, I essentially made it fold out in the middle so that it's not too much on my face. Even had adjustable straps. I got the ones for people with glasses when we had to wear the medical ones. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen those. Cynthia made a couple out of some cloth and some string and stuff that were they were kind of cool. They were almost like Batman or some kind of superhero style mask, and a little pocket where you could put a N95 if you wanted or whatever.
Yeah, I just
And I had a black mask from the Maroney Studios, which I wish I knew where it went. Someone probably stole it because there's only like 10. Rick had had 10 of them made for people who were recording.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because what ended up happening is I went on long-term leave versus short-term, so I didn't have anything to do, and played World of Warcraft instead. Re-upped my account and started playing and doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But
how long were your sessions?
How long were my sessions?
Yeah.
I played from when I got up to when I went to bed. So
okay, so that's you need to get up and walk around. We talk about health and eating. Is another thing. You got to get up and move.
I know. I have to with my back. I had to get up and walk and sit back down. But yeah,
I've played with like I got a friend in the Netherlands. Her name's Umfufu. And she does what I call no life in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like from morning to night, but it's fun for a lot of people because it's a community,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
somebody to talk to.
Yeah, it's people to talk to, and it's like whenever.
So SPTV has kind of replaced that, just so you know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and it's much more interactive now. Like, yeah, I agree. I mean, I was on Discord in 2015, and prior to that, I was, hosting
old Discord
servers and
yep, I remember Ventrilo too. How about? Do you remember Roger Wilco?
Is that a VoIP program?
Yeah, it was a voice program, box program. Yeah,
that's probably before my time. But
I remember that one. So there you go.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Roger
Wilco.
Mumble is the other one that a lot of the Europeans like to use. Like I bet Joe is familiar with Mumble. I'm
going to go ahead and throw this last comment up. We're 6 minutes from the 2-hour mark. So
yeah. You got your outro ready to run?
I do not have an outro done yet. So I've got that one.
You can run the intro again.
I could do that. Of course, the fun part is me figuring out how to make it work. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it so that I think it did okay today.
Oh, it did fine.
clicking
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
in.
Pull everyone off the stage and then
Yeah.
start the stream and then play the
Yeah.
file. You could do the same thing on the
Um,
exit. You could pull everyone out. We could say our goodbyes, and then we could pull it
yeah.
off the stage, and you can run the intro.
But I do want to give, Terry doesn't have a page, a community. So, but Terry is a moderator. She does a lot of moderating. She helps
Yep.
us out on that.
I've seen her on tons of channels.
Yeah. Yeah. She comes on the channel. She
You're not
visits with
saying
us.
much, eh?
No.
Yeah, that's because you and I are hard to get words in edgewise.
Oh yeah, is it like that? Is
I'm
it
the
whenever
yin to her yang.
I got you off screen? I bet y'all are just
Well,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's what happens with me is I'm like you, Marcus, is that I don't shut up, you know.
oh right.
Yeah, I just talk. So that's
Okay,
But
you
that's
need
why-
to stop that. It really upsets my headaches.
Oh, does it? Is it
I get migraines
okay.
and things like that can trigger them.
Well, I will
Oh, wow.
definitely I didn't know that, so I won't do it and while you're in
Of
the
course you didn't, but you do now.
Yeah.
you're aware. But anyway, Terry is one of the moderator staff on SPTV channels and does an excellent job along with Penny and Goldie and Julie's in the background a lot of times doing some of that stuff. But Marilyn does it. So a lot of these, granted, I'm not as big, but places like Aaron and Reese and you guys at your night parties, your evening parties, they couldn't function without these moderators. They would have to spend way too much time watching the chat and being policemen, and then offering you guys content. So when you see these guys, these moderators online, please make sure you acknowledge them. Make sure that you say hello and show them a little love. So anyway, so that is find that comment. I'm trying to get rid of it. So that
Aaron.
is what about Aaron? Oh, he's probably coming on.
No. You said comment, and I saw the Aaron comment.
Yeah, I'm looking
Oh,
I'm trying to find it so that I can remove it from the stage. Unless you have it, you can probably do it. Marcus, he is in Theta. Go ahead and tell us about your little home area.
my home area.
Yeah,
Channel.
your channel.
Oh, well, I can do this. My channel. I do a Monday broadcast at 10 a.m. Central Time, and it is. I just changed the name of it to Ding, deprogramming.
Okay.
So what I do, I need to change the thumbnails, but I got a new thumbnail with the picture of Home Dude from Clockwork Orange when he's getting brainwashed,
Mhm.
and so it says deprogramming, but then the program is blotted out, and it's just ding. So it's basically me going over and reviewing old videos that I posted from 2015 to 2019, things that I was going through, some of the I'd say the recovery process, because there wasn't a whole lot of people that I could talk to in my real life or my family. So the YouTube community was very interested and supportive of
Go Bell.
I'll be right back.
what I was doing. So, but then there was a point in time where there was some noisy investigation going on, and I pulled my content because I was in a position where I really couldn't go anywhere, and there was, I was living in a studio, and people were photographing me all the time. So I pulled all my content, and so I'm re-uploading it. Doug was a big inspiration to get me back involved in talking about this stuff. So I'm reviewing videos, and that's what I'm doing Mondays on my channel. As of right now, that's all that I've got on my regular schedule. But I'm always
So is
open
that-
to do things.
Is that the @in Theta channel, or
Yeah,
is that a
that-
different one?
That would be the @in Theta channel here. Yeah. at In Theta. You should be able to search under groups or even topics or just the search bar In Theta. That's
Give
my
me a
trauma
second.
community website or YouTube. And then I have all my featured and affiliated stuff.
Well, I
here.
got that wrong, didn't I? Let me redo that.
Chris and I came out around the same time. I think Mark was in way before me, and then I don't necessarily have them in any particular order, but channels that I've watched, and then my other channels here, the publishing company, the studio network, my gaming channel, and me and my brother's music. That's probably worth checking out, I should say. But
Is In Theta one word, or is there a hyphen in between it?
there's
When you go to your page?
there's a hyphen in between.
That should be it. I copied it straight from the page, so that should be it right there. Is that correct, Marcus?
Okay. I don't know. Let me
See,
see.
there's no hyphen in it.
Let's see. How would I check? Let me go. I would go into.
Just go to your page and it's on. It should be. It should be at the top of
in
your
the
home.
bar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go here and do this. See if that. Yeah, it comes up as that at In Theta, no hyphen.
No hyphen. Okay.
So everybody go over to Marcus's channel and go ahead and give him a subscribe. Make sure to like and subscribe this. And as you can hear what Marcus is up to, he will have all kinds of revamped content. So
Yeah,
do
I
make
mean,
sure.
it's part of sort of like going back because a lot of it was just documenting stuff. There were all kinds of things going on as a result, not
Mhm.
just the leaving, but going to therapy for the first time, going through a divorce, going through a custody battle, dealing with cancer. In a lot of ways,
Yeah.
my videos were like my little messages in a bottle to the internet.
They're like journals. It was your
Yeah.
journal.
Basically, yeah.
you did
And
a
so I'm
video
going
journal.
back over it, and with having, I didn't know if I was going to survive this stuff. I mean, that's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. And
Mhm.
my doctors were like, you really need to stay on your P's and Q's,
Yeah.
I had many rounds of so many drugs, a lot of years of steroids, years of antibiotics,
Mhm.
years of doxycycline to try and
Mhm.
get ready, and ultimately it just they needed to do the surgery again. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, we're glad you're with us, and
they're super
you
cool.
look
They're
great.
super cool. And
You
the
went through a
Xenu
lot.
thing will never happen again, Terry. I am so sorry about that. I really don't want to give you a headache, especially if you're a moderator. You live
No,
with
it's fine.
headaches.
I don't
Oh,
get them
wow,
that
yeah.
often, but I had a bad one last week, and I still have my brain still isn't quite right.
It's not.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
my adopted mother. She's my mother. My brother's mother.
Mhm.
My mother. She had them for years, and around 65, it finally just stopped. I don't understand. She doesn't know why, but they stopped. Either she learned it. She says I either learned to deal with it or they just stopped happening.
Mhm.
She doesn't get because they can be disabling.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry you have to
Yeah.
deal with that.
Oh, thank you.
that's a mess.
Yep.
Anyway, Marcus, but don't leave as soon as the thing's over because I have a couple questions for you anyway. We're
Sure.
going to go ahead and let Chad to talk about his channel real quick before we wrap up.
Thank you very much. We'll make it quick. We'll get right to work. Thank you, Cindy. If anyone wants to go to Clearwater Chad's channel, we have our Waterfall series. We have many of Chad's multi-personalities, which are Griff Calzone, Marty Rathbun, Clearwater Chad. We do sidewalk talks. We do pizza reviews. And we do vegan talk.
When did Marty enter the group?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
just
say, I don't
last
remember that
week.
one.
Just
Just
I did
recently,
two videos last week.
Okay.
They're great. They're great.
Thanks.
Better go look at those. I
put
missed
comments on
those.
both of them.
I saw those. And I didn't know what they were, and I thought I'll get to those later.
Yeah, I have to go take a look. But anyway, so that's Clearwater Chad in a second, and of course there's me. I do these types of things, and I do recipes. I do easy recipes for single parents. I have a whole set for that. I've got some more difficult or not. They're not. None of them are hard, but some that are a bit more involved that I also do. Try to post something every day. We do Food Talk Friday every Friday. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this again. Buy me a Southern Sweet Tea. If you guys feel like it, at least until I get monetized, we're trying to get there. We're working on it. We're getting there. But anyway, so my purpose is to help those that are coming out of the Sea Org that are leaving Scientology and others to be able to. And you've never seen the inside of a kitchen. They fed you all your life. I want to show you how to not have to go to McDonald's and spend a fortune at McDonald's for subpar food when you can make better food at home for less money. So that's what I'm all about. And other than that, guys, we'll do this again next Friday. I sure enjoyed having everybody
It was
on.
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure enjoyed people in the comments in the chat. Y'all are awesome, every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting.
Marty
our
wants
channel.
to say what Marty wants to say one thing. He just wants to remind everyone
Oh,
that
yeah.
everything that Levin Smith said at the IAS Awards in 1992 was totally fake. It was totally false. It didn't happen. And watch one of Clearwater Chad's videos for the rest of that speech.
Okay. Teaser.
That is hilarious.
Can't
So
wait.
anyway, so we're gonna wrap up Food Talk Friday. I'm gonna see if I can throw my my intro back out here and pull everybody off the
What's off
stage.
the
But
stage?
Thanks,
yeah,
everyone.
y'all have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a blessed weekend and an awesome
You know this was a
weekend.
good Friday. You know Chad did it. Excellent.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
10X
true.
it,
Thanks.
right? All righty.